Hi everyone, welcome to my channel. So today I have my update for my palette rotation series and also just talking about my general eyeshadow use for the month of February. So if that interests you, then keep on watching. So as I always start out these videos, I like to talk about how much I use my eyeshadow palettes in the past month. So in the month of February, I reached for a total of 27 palettes out of my 72. I really need to count that. I feel like every month now I've not been sure how many palettes I have, but I think it's 72. And my most used was my Wet n Wild Au Naturel palette. So I'm not going to talk too much about this palette, but I did use it 6 times. This is in my Pan Those Eyeshadows, and that's the reason I don't want to talk too much about it, give anything away. My Pan Those Eyeshadows update will be coming this Friday, so be sure to subscribe so you don't miss out on that, and I will talk more about this palette then. So during this month, I hit a total of 2 bonus pans. Well, 1 bonus pan and 1 pan in my Pan Those Eyeshadows project, so I'm only going to talk about the 1 bonus pan I hit, which is from my Milani Soft and Sultry palette. So in this palette, I hit pan in the shade Diamonds and Pearls right up here, and I now have a total of 57 pans out of my 985 shadows in my collection, and that makes a pan percentage total of 5.79%. So I'm super happy about that. I have been trying to hit pan in this shade for so long. It slowly started showing progress, and I was super determined this past month to hit pan on it, and I'm so excited that I finally got there. So I think that about concludes my palette usage for the month. I did not bring in any new palettes, so I have nothing to talk about in that area. So we will just jump straight into my palette rotation series. So these are the 5 palettes I had in, and for those of you who don't know, my palette rotation series is where I randomly roll in 5 palettes from my collection, and my goal is simply to use them each one time to create a complete everyday look using just that palette. I just like to do this project to rotate through my palettes, use palettes or shades I might not normally reach for, and just get one full dedicated use at least out of each of the palettes that are in for that round. So we can start going through each of the palettes. The first one I used this past month was my Love Triumph of Venus palette, and here is what this beautiful palette looks like on the inside, and I will insert a picture of the look that I created. So for this look, I started out with Shallow through the crease, and then I used this Boucher shade in the outer corner, and then I used Temptress to blend the outer corner into the crease. I tried to create a little bit of a purple color with the blue and the red, and then I used the shade Beam on the first kind of 2/3 of the lid, and then I put Seafoam in the inner corner, and Seafoam is my favorite shade in this entire palette. I absolutely love it. I do like how this look turned out. It's not my favorite that I've created with this palette. I tried to just get a little more creative with blending these 2 shades in the outer corner, and I don't think the finished look was exactly how I wanted it to turn out, but I didn't mind the look. It's just not my absolute favorite that I've created with this palette. Next up, we have my Wet n Wild Not a Basic Peach palette, a nice little 10-pan palette, so I will insert the picture of the look that I created. So for this look, I packed this top transition shade everywhere on my lid, blended that up into the crease, and then I added a little bit of this kind of corally matte shade through the crease, just really, really lightly. I just wanted a hint of pink for this look. And then I used this dark brown tight to my upper lash line, and then did this kind of shimmery purple shade along my lower lash line. I winged that out, and then I also connected that along my upper lash line. And then I put this shade over here in my inner corner, and this was just a really simple everyday shade. This shimmer right here does not get a ton of use from me, so it was kind of nice to reach for it and make it the star of this look, even though it was still pretty subtle. And I just really enjoyed how this look turned out. So next up we have my iHeart Revolution and Looney Tunes Tweety palette. Such a cute palette, and I did use this one to create my look for my Valentine's Day video, so I will insert a picture of that look. So if you want a full tutorial for this look, I do have my video posted on my channel, which I will link. But basic steps were I took the shade Sweet directly in the crease and onto the outer corner. I used Granny to blend it out. I put Sing on the first 2/3 of the lid and into the inner corner. I used a combination of Nest and Sweet to kind of create that winged liner look. And then I put Granny on the lower lash line, and this was just a fun pink Valentine's Day look. Like I said, I go into the more in-depth tutorial in my video, but I really did enjoy what this look turned out to look like. Next up we have my beautiful Shellz Peach Chameleon palette, and as I always mention when I show this brand, I do have an affiliate link. It is always linked in my description box. It also has a discount code so you can save a little bit of money, and I do earn a small commission if you use it, which I would really appreciate, but absolutely no pressure. So this palette was so much fun to use this past month. This is the palette that I used for my actual Valentine's Day look on the actual day, so I will insert a picture of that. So for this look, I took this red matte shade and packed it on my lid, blended it up into my crease, and then used the other matte shade to just very lightly blend out the crease. I wanted most of it to still be the red color. And then I packed this shimmer all over the lid. It has a beautiful kind of orange to pink shift to it. I'm not sure if you'll be able to tell, but I think in the picture of the look you can kind of see that shift from pink to orange. And then I put this shade in my inner corner, and I absolutely loved how this look turned out. It was just a beautiful reddish pink with a little hint of orange in it, and I just thought it was a really perfect Valentine's Day look. And then last but not least, we have my iHeart Revolution Mulan palette. So here is what this one looks like, and I will insert a picture of the look that I created. So for this look, I took the shade Ancestors and blended that through my crease and onto my outer corner. I was so impressed with the shade. It was so beautiful, so pigmented, but also blended out super easily. And then I took the shade Hero just to kind of blend out the crease even more. Then I took the shade Con and deepened up my outer corner. I put General Lee on the first half of my lid, and then I smudged Imperial Army along the lower lash line and put Emperor in the inner corner. And this was just a nice everyday warm tone look for me. Like I said, I was super impressed with how these shades performed. I don't use this palette too often just because it's not one of my favorites in my collection, but the shades I used for this look seriously impressed me, and it does make me want to reach for this palette on a more frequent occasion. So those are the 5 looks that I created with my 5 palettes for my palette rotation series for February. Let me know which look was your favorite, which palette was your favorite, and we can just jump right into choosing our palettes for March. Alright, let's choose some new palettes for March. I have my Pretty Random app here opened up for my palette rotation series. I did not use the same wheel for the first month, so if I draw in one of those palettes, I will re-roll. But other than that, all palettes are eligible. I just like to roll out whatever ones have already been in for the year. So our first palette up is Sigma Cinderella, super exciting. Next palette is going to be my NYX Ultimate Utopia, which was in January. So I will re-roll for that one. That one was also in January, so gonna re-roll. IBY Boho, that one is eligible, so that is my second palette for March. ColourPop Midnight Masquerade was also in January. At least I'll have these out for the rest of the year. Maybelline Lemonade Craze is eligible, so that is our third palette. Huda Beauty Nude Obsessions Light will be our fourth palette, and last but not least will be my Huda Beauty Desert Dusk palette. So I'm gonna go grab all 5 of those and be right back. Alright, we will just take a quick look at these 5 new palettes, starting with my Sigma Cinderella. This is such a beautiful palette, and I'm super excited about this. This is not one that gets a ton of use from me, so it'll be really nice to have a focused use out of it this month. Next up, we have my IBY Beauty Boho palette. Another one I'm super excited about. I have been wanting to reach for this one a lot lately, so this will be a really good opportunity to do so. This is my Maybelline Lemonade Craze palette. This one is such an easy palette for me to use for everyday looks. I absolutely love it. I am working towards hitting pan in all of these shades slowly but surely, so I'm super excited that this one got rolled in this month. Next we have my Huda Beauty Nude Light palette. So another super easy everyday palette for me. I love this palette. So once again, super excited. I feel like I'm saying the same thing for all of these palettes, but they are all such good palettes that got rolled in this month. Alright, then lastly, my Huda Beauty Desert Dusk palette, my other Huda Beauty palette. I just used this palette the other day actually, so it'll be nice to get another use out of it this year, this month, and I am very excited. I really love this palette, and I have been finding more and more excuses to use it. So those are my 5 palettes in for March. I am super excited about this month. I love all of these palettes so much, and I'm so excited to get a dedicated use out of each of them. Let me know what you think of these palettes, what you think of this project. Give this video a thumbs up if you did enjoy. Be sure to subscribe so you don't miss out on any of my future uploads. And with all of that said, I will see you in my next video. Bye!